Hi and welcome, it's Jennifer McGuire. Today I thought I'd share with you how to create a word window card. Now I'm a big fan of window cards in general, but I thought it'd be fun to shake it up and create the window from a die cut sentiment. This is something that you can do with products you might have on hand already. Now I'm making a few of these cards, so I thought I'd share some tips also for layering stamp sets when you want to make several cards at once. Okay, so I am going to start with my stamping. Now this is one of my biggest tips. I want to create this cluster of flowers on the card, but I need to use masking. So what I do is I practice the colors I want to do and my stamping on masking paper. So this is all stamped on Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo masking paper. And I'm killing a few birds with one stone here. I'm testing out the different colors before I do it on my card. And I'm actually creating the pieces I want to mask. And I can arrange those how I want them on the card, so I can plan it by arranging all those cutout masks. I'm going to take a picture of it once I have it arranged exactly how I want it with my phone, so I can remember this. And then I can use that picture to refer back to where I want my placement to be. So stamping your layers on your mask is really handy to do. So here's a look at the stamp set I'm using today. This is a stamp set from Clearly Besotted that they created exclusively for Simon Says Stamptember. Now these stamps sell up very quickly, so if you're interested in this one, be sure to get it when you can. Now I'm taking my masks and I'm just positioning them where I want. The release paper is still on the back of it. I'm just kind of planning out based on that picture I have on my phone. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with the first layer of the stamp, which is the most solid and in the lightest color. So I'm positioning those exactly where I want them on the front of my white note card. Actually, this is just a white panel that's cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You can see that's in the corner of my MISTI. Now I'm closing the MISTI door to transfer the stamps to the door. You could do this with an acrylic block or a stamp positioner if you want to. I just find the MISTI stamping tool is really handy when you're making a lot of cards. So I'm inking up the first stamp, the pink one, with a light pink ink, and I'll list all the inks over on my blog, so you can check that out if you want to. And the small one with the purple. You can see my stamping isn't beautiful, it's splotchy, that's okay, it doesn't matter. This is for layering, and these inks kind of smooth out as they dry. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this on several white pieces of cardstock so that I can make a bunch of cards at once. That's something that I'm a fan of doing, especially when you're taking the time to do this stamp layering and cutting out those masks and kind of planning everything out. You might as well make a few at once. So now that I have my first images, it's time to put those masks right on top of those. Now we're putting the masks to good use for masking. I'm going to put them right on top, and now we can start planning the leaves that are going to kind of overlap. Now with masking, the key is to stamp first whatever you want most forefront in your card. I wanted those flowers forefront and the leaves tucked behind, so I stamped the flowers first. Now I am inking up the leaves with some light green ink. And then the yellow flower over there, you just want to pick a few things that you can do at once. This will save you a lot of time. So notice that there's like a little white halo around my flowers because of the mask. I kind of like that definition around it. You can cut your mask slightly smaller if you don't want that. So I'm just going to continue to repeat the process where each time I pick a few different images that I want to stamp, and I make sure to use my masks every time. Now I'm not showing every card that I'm making, but every time I do this, I stamp multiple cards so I can make a bunch at once. Okay, so now we're on to the second layer of that purple flower there. So I'm picking out a color that is a little bit darker and stamping that on top. Now one of the tips that I think is really helpful with stamp layering is using the MISTI or a stamp positioner, because you can actually lay the clean stamp right on top of your stamped image, and you can line it up perfectly so that when you stamp it, when you ink it and stamp it, it will be positioned just right. So if you like stamp layering sets, I can't recommend the MISTI enough. It's really a handy tool, and it's very helpful for many different techniques. So you can see I'm just kind of building this up using my masks as I go. Now remember, those masks, those were handy in the beginning because I kind of planned out where I was going to stamp everything, and I also practiced what colors I wanted to use. So doing those masks took a little bit of time at the beginning, but it's saving me a lot of time here. Now, I'll be honest, I originally planned to make these flowers be kind of fall looking, like fall mums, but I went really soft. So I did go back and restamp that first layer, that first lightest layer, with a bit darker ink for the purple and the pink. Just right on top of the stamping we already did, and it kind of made the colors a little bit darker and less spring looking. It still ends up being kind of a summer card, but it ended up working out. But remember, with the stamp positioner, you can go back and re-stamp things if you want to. So keep in mind, when you're masking, you want to stamp first the things that are foremost on your card, and then work your way back to the things that are tucked behind. Okay, so after I did all my stamping on all the different panels, I went ahead and used my Spectrum Noir clear shimmer pen to put some shimmer onto my flowers. Now, be careful. Sometimes the shimmer pen picks up some of the color of the ink, so you want to scribble off on scrap paper. With these inks, I didn't have any problems. Okay, so now it's time to create that word window die cut. So for this, I'm using a new Hero Arts product that's, again, exclusive for Simon Says Stamp for Stamptember. It's the Thanks and the Giving word dies and the mini stamp set that you see there to the left. I'm just using the dies today, but this really has a lot to offer. You can do thanks by itself, or you can do Thanksgiving, maybe for some place cards or greetings, or you can do giving thanks, which I'm doing today. Now I've positioned my giving and thanks dies exactly where I want them to cut on the front of the stamped panel, and I put a piece of tape across it. It's really important that you keep that piece of tape there as you run it through your die cut machine and afterwards, because it'll help us out with the next steps. Now I'm popping out the word die cuts and also the little centers of the letters. I'm going to keep those little centers in a little bowl for later, but you can skip that if you want to. Now I did trim this panel down a little bit on each side, and I cut a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch craft note card. I'm going to temporarily tape this to the front of the card. Then I'm going to take those dies that are still taped together, pop them right into place. They'll fit right into the opening, and run it through my die cut machine again. Now this time, it's going to cut through the craft note card itself, and I can be sure that the Giving Thanks opening on the stamp panel is in the exact same position as the Giving Thanks opening on our craft note card. Next, I've cut a piece of plastic that I got from some packaging. Any recycled packaging would be fine. This is super thin. It really doesn't matter. And I've cut that down to be a little bit bigger than our word die cut opening. I'm putting some adhesive on the front of our note card so that we can put that clear piece right over it, and also glue the stamp panel over that. So basically, I am sandwiching that clear piece in between our note card and our stamped front panel. You could skip this clear window by all means and just have it be an open window, but you'll see why I wanted to do it in a moment. And now I'm just lining up the opening of the Giving and Thanks between so you can perfectly see through the front of the card. Now this is the reason I put that clear piece in there. I am putting a little dot of Ranger Multimedium in the center of my letters and adding in the pieces that we cut out. You could totally skip this and skip the centers of the letters, but I'm kind of weird and I like to keep them in there. And it's actually pretty easy to do. I have all those little centers saved, and I just kind of pierce them with my craft knife to pick them up and then move them and glue them to the front of that clear window. I decided to decorate this with some sequins. These are from Lucy's Things. I did a variety of sequins, and then I also glued a little bead in the center of each of the sequins. So now you can see through the front of the card to the inside. Now this is another version I made. I did more die cutting with this one, but you can see through the entire card to the back. So you can step it up and do that if you wanted to. It takes a little more time, but you do the same technique for the die cutting. There are so many ways to create windows on the front of your cards. I hope you'll give it a try. I really like the products from Clearly Besotted today. I think these stamp layering sets are really unique in that they kind of have dots on the edge of the layering so that they really blend even better. And I really like that you can use that die cut set any way you want. As always, you can check out the products in my links in the YouTube description below, or head over to my blog with a lot more photos and information. In the middle are 2 other videos that might help you out. The first one shows tips for mass producing cards with the MISTI stamping tool and its stamp layering. The second one shows how to create a window shaker card where you can see right through the entire card. I hope this was helpful, and I'd love to see what you create, and we'll see you again soon.